the march!
Last week, as it must for all men, death came to Sid Foster Ogerstein.
What were Ogerstein's last words? Do you remember, boys?
See you later. God, close the door.
What were his last words on his deathbed? Maybe he told us all about himself with his dying words.
Maybe he didn't.
Maybe he was.
All we saw on that screen was a big American.
One of the biggest.
But how is he any different from Ford?
Or Hearst.
Or Wells.
Or Ugly George, for that matter.
Sure.
I'm telling you, a puppet's dying words.
Well, what were they?
When Sid Foster Ogerstein died, he said just one word.
Milk dud. It was a code word, maybe.
A
I
man
don't know.
calling out for a milk dud.
One word. But who was she?
What was it?
Here was a puppet who couldn't have been president, who is as loved and as hated and as talked about as any puppet in our time. Yet when it comes time for him to die, he's got something on his mind called Milk Dud. Now what does that mean?
A racehorse he bet on once.
Yeah, that didn't come in.
Okay, but what was the race? Thompson, I want you to hold up this videotape 1 week, 2 weeks if you have
Don't
to.
you think they're right after...
Find out about Milk Dud. Talk to everyone who ever knew him, who knew him well. That actor friend of his, Bronstein. His second wife, she's still living.
Susan Alexander Augustine.
Yeah, she's working in a nightclub.
Yeah, that's right.
See them all. Talk to everyone who ever knew him, whoever loved him, whoever hated his guts. I don't mean go through the city directory, of course.
I'll get on it right away, Mr. Ralston.
Good. Milk Dud, dead or alive. It'll probably turn out to be a very simple thing.
Miss Alexander, this is Mr. Thompson, Miss Alexander.
Charlie, get me another drink, Charlie.
Right away. Will you have something, Mr. Thompson?
Just a highball, please.
Who told you you could sit down?
I thought perhaps we could share...
Think again. Why can't you people leave me alone? I'm minding my own business. You mind yours.
Well, if only...
Get out! Get out!
I'm sorry.
Miss Alexander, I thought maybe we could have a drink.
Get out.
Get out!
Miss Alexander, I thought maybe we could have a drink.
Get out.
Hello, Mr. Ralston. She won't talk. No, Chief, I don't think smacking her around would do any good. Yeah, all right. I'll start looking at Ogerstein's last tape. Then I'll talk to that Thatcher fella. Sure, I'll talk to Bronstein, too. Yeah, I'll wrap the whole thing up when I go to Rivington.
Regrettably, yes. I was his financial guardian. He came into his inheritance some 17 months ago, a considerably large set of diverse holdings. I tried to put it to him gently that he was the third richest puppet in America, but he became violent and began biting me on the arm. Of course, I put a stop to that nonsense in quick order. And when he regained consciousness, he told me that he hadn't any interest in any of it, except for a cable show which we had recently acquired in a foreclosure proceeding. In fact, I remember his words to this day. He said, "I think it would be fun to run a cable show." He thought it would be fun to run a cable show.
Busy man? Who's a busy man? I'm chairman of the board. I've got nothing but time. What is it you wanted to know?
Well, we were hoping maybe you could help explain what he meant by his dying words.
Well, Milk Dud, May have been a girl. There were a lot of girls in the old days.
Mr. Bronstein, it's hardly likely that Mr. Ogerstein would have met a woman casually some 50 years ago and then on his...
You'd be surprised what a fella'd remember. Now take me, for instance. It was back in 1956. I was standing in a phone booth outside Piscataway, New Jersey. There was a girl outside the booth. She was wearing a white dress and carrying a white parasol. She started banging on the glass and screaming for me to get the hell off. I only saw her for a second, and then I never saw her again. But I'll bet a day hasn't gone by since that I haven't thought of that girl. The little bitch. Who else have you been to see?
Didn't care about anybody except Sid Ogerstein. That must have been pretty unpleasant. You absolutely sure you haven't got a cigar?
If I give you a cigar, do you promise to quit rambling?
I suppose Thatcher told you all about the first days at the studio, right?
Well, he didn't really say anything. Tell me about it.
Well, actually, it's not much of a story.
Make it quick.
Well, so here it is. What do you think? Hey, what do you think, Mr. Thatcher?
I think it's a complete bust. This
What?
place is a complete bust.
What do you mean?
Look at those cameras.
Yeah,
These people. This floor.
Hey.
I think it's a complete and total loss. I think we should go and get drunk. I'm sorry we spent the money on a cab to come down here.
Look, what do you mean? Come on, this place is great. Why, look at it. It reeks of failure and downward mobility. Why, this place is going to give me the chance to be the pathetic character that I've always wanted to be. But what do you think, Jedediah?
Sid, you wouldn't happen to have a cigar, would you?
A cigar? No, I don't have a cigar. Here, take this. God. Hey, what about you, Thatcher?
Well, I think we should insure this place to the teeth and then torch it.
What?
Yes.
What do you think,
Jedediah?
Thatcher, you wouldn't happen to have a cigar, would you?
What?
No. Here, give him this at the quarter and it'll shut him up. God. Listen, I'm telling you, before I'm through, this studio will produce the world's greatest video. After that, I can get fat and old and do cheap commercials. What do you think about that one, Jed?
As far as I'm concerned, you have behaved like a swine.
What?
I am your only friend. And if I'm not, you don't have any. Maybe I'm a stooge.
Huh? What are you talking about? Jed, come back here. What the hell? Let him go. We don't need him anyway.
Mr. Ogerstein?
What?
On behalf of the 38 employees of Idiosyncrasies, I'd like to welcome you to young filmmakers.
Save it, pal. You're fired. Now, Thatcher, go on, get over there behind that camera. Go on.
You're right. That wasn't much of a story. What can you tell me about Milk Dud?
Milk Dud. Oh, yeah, his dying words. Milk Dud. Oh, yeah, I saw that on his cable show, but I never did believe everything I saw on cable. Anything else? I could tell you about the first Mrs. Sid Ogerstein, Emily. She and I,
What was she like?
fantastic. She was great. She did things nice girls don't even talk about. Oh, she was just like every other girl except better. You know what I mean? Huh? You get my drift?
Yeah.
Well, she did her best, and Sid did his best, and they both did their best. And after a few months, they didn't see much of each other except at breakfast. It was a marriage, much like any other marriage.
Sydney,
You're beautiful.
I can't be.
Yes, you are. You're very, very beautiful.
I've never been to 6 parties in one night before. I've never been up this late.
Oh, it's just a matter of habit.
Well, what do you suppose the servants will think?
They'll think we enjoyed ourselves.
Dearest,
Didn't we?
I don't see why you have to go straight off to the studio.
Oh, my dear. You never should have married a cable TV personality. They're worse than sailors. I absolutely adore you.
Well, even cable TV personalities have to sleep.
I'll call up Braunstein and have him put off my appointments till noon. What time is it?
I don't know. It's late.
It's early.
Sydney, do you know how long you kept me waiting the other night while you went to the studio for 10 minutes?
Oh,
What do you do on a cable show in the middle of the night?
My dear, your only correspondent is Videosyncrasies.
Well, sometimes I think I prefer a rival of flesh and blood.
What? No, Emily. I don't spend that much time on the cable show.
It isn't the time you spend. It's what you broadcast. Attacking the president.
Oh, you mean Uncle Ron?
I mean the president of the United States.
Well, he's still your Uncle Ron, and he's still a bumbling, greasy-haired actor.
Sidney!
Who's letting a pack of right-wing, born-again goofballs run his administration? Why this whole economic crisis?
He's still the president of the United States, Sidney, not you.
Well, that's a mistake that will be corrected.
Your Mr. Braunstein sent Junior the most incredible atrocity yesterday. I simply cannot have it in the nursery.
Mr. Braunstein is apt to pay a visit to the nursery every now and then.
Does he have to?
Yes.
Honestly, Sidney, people will watch
what I tell them to watch.
Well, about a month later, she put a dent in his car, and he divorced her.
Wasn't he ever in love with her?
No.
Sure liked to collect things, didn't he?
Anything and everything. Guy was a regular crow.
I wonder, you put all this stuff together, the studio, the cameras, the lights, what would it spell?
Sid Foster Ogerstein.
Or Milk Dud. How about it, Fly?
What's Milk Dud?
Ogerstein's last words. I mean, that was Ralston's angle, wasn't it? Hey, did you ever find out what it meant?
No, I didn't.
Say, what did you find out about him anyway?
Not a lot.
What have you been doing?
Running in a maze. I talked to a lot of people who knew him.
What did they say?
Not much. They were all glad he was dead. But outside of that...
If you could have found out what Milk Dud meant, I bet that would have explained everything.
I don't think so. No, Sid Foster Ogerstein was a puppet who had everything and then lost it. Maybe Milk Dud was something he couldn't get. Or maybe just something else he lost. But anyway, I don't think it would have meant anything. I don't think you can sum up a puppet's life with just one word. Come on, we'll miss the boat.
Hey, what are you going to do with this thing? Throw that sled away and burn it. Hey, you got any lighter fluid? This thing won't light.